Thanks to all these cunts for the suggestion. Load up Red Dead Redemption 2, start a new game.
Welcome to the Wild West, where currently the only thing wild about it is this shitty weather.
You are a brooding sexy cowboy called Arthur with your gang of naughty boys running away from the law after being caught robbing a boat when you weren't supposed to be. Find some shelter for the gang, and while everyone sets up camp, you and your leader Dutch go to find two lads who are searching for food. You find one of the guys, Micah, and he's found a house with some people inside who could potentially help you, so you all head over to politely ask them for some help. It's a good job you killed these innocent homeowners because they were actually a rival gang called O'Driscoll who are looking to steal a train. Why are they in the mountains where there's no trains then? I don't fucking know. But they killed the owner of this house and put his fit wife in the basement, so you save her, accidentally burn her house down, and take her back to camp because we're only murderous outlaws when there's not fit wives involved. John, one of the guys who went scouting, has been missing for 2 days, so you and a dude called Javier go to find him, believing he's still alive, which if you've played Red Dead 1, then spoiler he is. Not sure why the fuck he's up on this mountain though in the middle of nowhere looking like a cat scratching post, but take him to the horses when you see the reason he was up here was because of these wolves who are really threatening and could kill you easily. You and the boys need to get some more supplies for the gang. Unfortunately, you can't just pop down to the local Tesco, so instead rob this group of O'Driscolls, including their plans to steal that train, which are now our plans to steal that train. You also find a guy who looks like he'd make a good hostage, so let's just take him as well. Who knows, if we run out of food, we might get desperate. Finally, it's time to rob that train, because being chased into the mountains by the police and freezing your tits off in a shitty wooden shack wasn't enough for you to learn your lesson. You try blow up the tracks to stop the train, but the detonator didn't work. God, whoever hooked that up must have been a real silly sausage. But with your quick thinking, 3 of you minus 1 jump onto the top of the train to stop it the good old-fashioned way. Then you fight off the guards, which this train keeps producing like some weird guard-producing organism. I swear we killed all these guys while going through the train. Until Dutch comes to back you up. Inside the train, you find some expensive paper, which you can probably sell, and leave the train on autopilot to crash or stop somewhere. I don't know, it's not your problem now. You've got more important shit to do. The snow is liquefied, which means you can move down the mountain and set up camp in an area that won't make your nipples more solid than Minecraft Obsidian. Dutch wants you to go make some money, which for main characters like yourself is basically just the game devs telling you to go fuck around for a bit. Hosea, who is like Dutch's wisdomic right-hand man, asks you to go hunting because he saw a bear, and I'll be honest, there's a reason you shouldn't really do that, and it's because, yeah, that. But you survive. Somehow. Must be that plot armor at work. While on these missions, there are hints of backstory as to why you guys are up the shitty creek, and simply put, there's a place called Blackwater where you guys wanted to rob a boat, and it didn't really go that well. These guys called the Pinkertons want to arrest you all, especially Dutch, since he's like the leader. Anyway, you're down at the local tavern fighting, because besides drinking, that's the only thing to do for entertainment, when this guy Josiah comes up, talking about how he left one of the boys in Blackwater, and that's something we gotta do. At some point. Not right now, though. Right now, that hostage we caught earlier is telling us where some O'Driscolls are after some light persuasion.
Okay, listen.
The leader's supposed to be there, but of course he's not. It's too early in the game for that shit to be over, so go back to camp. Mike has been arrested and we have to go break him out, which was easy enough. I'm sure there will be no repercussions like murdering an entire town or anything like that. Later on, we meet up with some of the boys to save Sean, that guy we left in Blackwater. We're cowboys, not assassins, so we kinda just run in and shoot up a load of people like it's a battle royale, cut him down and go back to camp. Then John comes to you with a little job involving the illegal acquisition of a train chute. For the job, his missus wants us to babysit her kid for a bit, so we take him fishing. Some detectives turn up basically saying, we're gonna blow your head off if you don't give up your leader. Like, goddamn, there's a child here. When you tell Dutch, he's fucking shaking in his boots, but we stay here anyway, because it wouldn't be a very good storyline if we just avoided all the drama. So you keep making money for the gang by stealing shit like that train. You then meet Dutch in a bar when, oh no, this guy Cornwall, who's the owner of that train you robbed that one time, is here. He's got 2 of your guys and wants you to come out, but instead of dealing with you himself, he knows that he's a main antagonist, so kinda just leaves and lets his men handle us, which wasn't smart because they don't have plot armor. You all escape and Dutch is shitting himself more than after a night of drinking and vindaloo, but apparently Micah has a new place where we can go and lie low. Wouldn't really call it lying low when we're still committing millions of crimes and murdering 50% of the population. But Dutch sends us over there because he's useless, and we get there, it's shit. But we track down some German guy who got kidnapped and realize that his kidnappers are actually really good at picking out cool spots to live in, so we just kill them and move in there instead. Dutch for once suggests fishing, an activity not involving crime. And on your way, you run into the local police and get on their good side by catching some bad guys. Little do they know that you're also the bad guys. In this new area, Dutch actually wants us to properly lie low so not us to get caught again. So we murder a bunch of people. Don't worry, it's in the name of the law because that sheriff made us deputies, and much like real life, the law doesn't apply to the police. apparently. We also clearly haven't learned our lesson from the last 2 places we've been that are now hunting us like thirsty virgins hunt for e-girls, because we last about 5 seconds before robbing people and being general twats. Alongside our shithousery, there's 2 families in this county, the Greys and Braithwaite, who are enemies with each other, and we kinda use that to get money off both of them and make them hate each other even more. Then the O'Driscolls would like to parley with us, and Dutch is kinda considering it after Micah's devil on the shoulder telling him what to do act, but you, being the intelligent specimen you are, think it's a trap. Dutch goes anyway, and sure enough it is a trap, but not for him, for little old main character you. The O'Driscolls kidnap you, shoot you with a big gun at point blank range, like how the f did that not kill you? Then they string you up and their leader exposes their evil plans because you know story progression and all that. What he didn't account for was that you could swing on a rope and use a lockpick so you escape on your horse, get back to camp and rest for a couple of days and continue as if nothing happened. But just when you thought the story drama was over for a bit, bing bong, Sean gets shot. He could be dead, but jury's still out on that. The Greys were onto you the entire time and put you into a trap, which worked since you're here. But you managed to kill them off, which officially makes this the second town you've murdered all the residents of. You and Micah get into an argument because you think they're dumb for falling for this trap, when in reality you probably would have done the same. But anyway, they ride away. Oh, and Sean is definitely dead. There's even more drama now back at camp. John's son Jack has been kidnapped by the other family, and much like we don't tolerate the law, we don't tolerate nonsense either. The kid wasn't in the house though. Some guy called Angelo Bronte took him to Saint Denis, making this a bigger pain in the arse than it should be. Back at camp, you and the boys are having a meeting about the retrieval of the miniature cowboy, when those policemen who threatened to blow your head off turn up asking Dutch to turn himself in, so we can all live. And I don't know about you guys, but I think we should just turn him in.
You friends should leave now, Dutch.
I mean, yeah, get out of here, you pigs. Looks like we gotta move house again. Ah, home sweet home. It just so happens that your new home is literally breathing down the neck of that city where John's son is being held, so you and Dutch ride over there to do a bit of reconnaissance, which is cowboy speak for getting your stuff robbed by some little shit. And honestly, if it was me, I'd just blow the kid's head off and be done with it, but the game won't let you do that, so we gotta chase this little shit into his den of prepubescent ankle biters, and then they sort of just give you your stuff back and tell you where to find Angelo Bronte, because I guess showing kids getting shot isn't the family-friendly content we all need. You go confront him in his house of many men and guns with your balls of steel, and he's like, yeah, you can have him, but this is a game, so do shit for me first. So you do it, and he gives you the son, no strings attached or anything. He even invites you to the mayor's party, where you overhear the mayor is making deals with that Cornwall guy, so we steal some paper with information on it and leave the party. After that, we sort of just go back to breaking the law, you know, the usual stuff, when the O'Driscolls feel like they're not getting enough screen time and attack our camp. They cut off the hostage's head and sent him as an act of intimidation, but you know what's more intimidating? Guns. Dutch then takes us on a job robbing some place in Saint Denis that Angelo Bronte said would be good, but it was a trap because he's a crime lord. Obviously, he's full of shit and has the entire city in his back pocket, which means he likes you about as much as the general population likes Marmite. And the disrespect has clearly got Dutch all hot and bothered because he wants to rob a bank in the city to earn enough money to get away from here for good. But since Bronte owns the police, we take him out first like a hot date and then feed him to some alligators. We rob the bank and some mad shit happens. Hosea sets up a distraction somewhere else but gets caught because someone leaked information to the police. It gets even worse when Hosea becomes Ghostayer. Get it? Because he's fucking dead. Robbing a bank probably wasn't smart because it turns out 90% of the city's population is police. John gets arrested, then more of you get shot, so in terms of success, you're not having much of it. You all go sneaky mode at nighttime to try and get a boat out of the city. This guy called Charles sacrifices himself to distract some guards, and finally, after a rough couple of hours, it seems like you can relax. You may have lost your gang and left the women and children behind, but at least you're alive, until the boat pulls a Titanic and starts to sink. You get separated from Dutch and the boys, and instead of waiting for you, they kind of just leave, and you have to jump into the ocean. You probably can't swim because you spend 90% of your day on a horse, so you drown until you don't, and you're on a beach in the middle of nowhere. But through some of the luckiest shit I've ever seen, you wash up about 30 feet away from where Dutch and the boys are, so things are finally looking up. Well, fuck. You get arrested by some slave guys, but then you escape because some man in a bush shoots them, and Javier gets shot in the leg, so he's not dead, but he's definitely gonna get caught, so, bye. Swear the game devs just decided to start flipping a coin on whether to kill members of your gang or not. Hercule, the man who saved you, says he can get you a boat off the island, but you must satisfy his need for slave saving first. So after retrieving Javier from the Spanish grasp of his captors, we get caught by a guy, intentionally I want to say, because we escape and save those slaves. Just when you think you're getting off the island, the boss of this plantation finds out you're worth more than a carton of milk, so he tries to capture you. Not sure how this stops us from getting a boat off the island, but we gotta go deal with that first. You basically just kill his boat, kill his men, and then kill him. Leave the island, and with the law after us back home and angry Spanish people behind us, there's only one place we can go. Back to where we literally just ran away from. You go back to find the rest of your gang. Sure enough, they're not at the camp, but the police are, and we know exactly how to deal with them. After finding a note in the house, you track down the gang, but much like an STD, the gosh darn police come back again. Anyway, you fight them off, and you and Sadie, the wife you saved, who's apparently a gunslinging outlaw now, tried to find a way to save John, because in case you forgot, he's in jail. On your way to go meet her in town, you start doing a little coughing, and a little bit of wheezing, and a little bit of passing out underneath a wagon, because one happened to run by while this cutscene was happening. Some guy takes you to the doctor's, because I think coughing up blood and passing out is a sign you're not healthy, and the doctor tells you have tuberculosis, which for a Wild West cowboy, in a time where antibiotics are as existent as my dad, yeah, you're pretty fucked. But instead of worrying about a life-threatening disease, you need to do some recon with Sadie. You learn that John is on some island prison and need to figure out a way to get him out. At the moment, Dutch seems to be losing the plot a bit with all the shit that's been happening, causing you to have a little argument where you call him out on his bullshit. He gets mad, then you get mad, and then he goes to do some recon with his new best friend Micah, while you and Charles go find a new place to live. Everyone moves into the new place when Dutch's missus comes up talking about how she informed the Pinkertons of the bank robbery, leading to all that shit that happened, and, well, safe to say she's about to go see Hosea and apologize. I don't really know why she was saying that, because spoiler, we find out later on that she didn't tell them anything, and it's never explained, so good luck figuring that one out.
Dutch starts going a bit crazy and tells us not to save John, which for a guy whose whole gimmick is that he likes loyal people is a bit of a dick move. Then he gets mad when we save him because he thinks we're going to bring the law down on us like we haven't already committed every crime in the Book of Crimes. We start second guessing Dutch's decisions, because they're shit. But we don't really have a choice, so we go along with him while he kills Cornwall and tries to get the Native Americans to attack the army, hoping that that distracts them enough from our shit little performance. Then the O'Driscoll leader gets hung, so we go and watch that, you know, bit of local entertainment. The final, most important step in Dutch's master plan that we can't fail no matter what is to destroy a bridge in the middle of nowhere, because a bridge in the middle of nowhere is apparently more distracting than the biggest criminals in the universe. You and John have a heartwarming chat about Dutch's shithousery, and you tell him to leave when he has a chance so Red Dead Redemption 1 can happen. And while running on basically half a lung, you try and help some of the gang run away so not as to get caught in Dutch's descent into madness. That's when the leader of the Native American camp turns up. He wants to try and get peace off the army, who've been lying to him the entire time, but since you're a very ill good boy now, you help him out, sort of. At least until you shoot everyone. I don't think the Native Americans got the memo off their leader, because they show up asking us to help them fight some guys at an oil factory. Their leader is trying to stop them, but he must be a pretty shitty leader because they sort of just ignore him, so we have to get up and help them too. Even Dutch comes to help, which is surprising since recently he's just been in it for himself. Oh, he was just using them to get the money in this factory. I swear this guy is looking more and more like Mr. Krabs as the days go by. Then as you're leaving, more people show up trying to kill you. Some steam pipe squirts you in the face, which kinda hurts, but not as much as this knife that's about to go into your face. You call out to Dutch for help, but he walks away. Dun dun dun. What a prick. You're about to get stabbed when the leader's son, Eaglefly, saves you but gets shot in the process. You go outside and ask Dutch what the fuck that was about, and he's kind of just like, oh, you had it under control. Like, yeah, sure. Back at camp, Dutch insists that you all only need one more job before you're free, which I feel like this is what 90% of his dialogue has been since the start of the game, but you go along with it for no particular reason other than to progress the plot, and surprisingly, this job actually goes quite well. You rob a train, you find loads of money, John gets shot, Dutch and Micah go back to get him while you finish up, so he's probably dead.
That patrol killed him.
Oh, who'd have guessed? Then you all ride back to camp, and I guess you could say it's been a bad do for the John family, because his missus Abigail has been captured by the police. Now I know Dutch is one for shitty plans, but we know he is a loyal man towards every member of the group. Well, shit. You and Sadie go to save her, Sadie gets caught, so you run in, you get caught, and Mr. Policeman knows it's time for a plot twist, so tells you that Micah is the one who's been informing him of all the naughty things you guys were up to. Whoa, big shocker, the humongous turd ball is the rat. Anyway, you nearly get your head blown off, but besides that, things are good. Sadie and Abigail both run away, and it's safe to say the group is no longer a group. More like a small gathering. You head back to confront Dutch finally and tell him about Micah being the king of cunts. For some reason he doesn't believe you, even though he's known you for like 20 years or something stupid. And then Micah shoots one of the members of our small gathering, and Dutch still believes him over you, so either he's a really bad judge of character or just an idiot, I don't know. Then John comes back because he wasn't dead, and Dutch just left him like he did to you that one time, and there's this standoff. You're about to get shot by Dutch and Micah when the police turn up, probably the only time you'll be happy to see them because it stopped Dutch from pulling the Uno reverse on your life. You and John then escape through a cave and get chased down by Dutch and the police, and I feel like there's a bit of teaming going on here because they're not going for each other, they're just going for us. Anyway, you and John get knocked off your horses and climb up a mountain for a sort of last stand type of thing. It's at this point where you've reached the end of your tether. The tuberculosis has got all up in your lungs and you're wheezing harder than a 60-year-old smoker after going up the stairs. You tell John to run while you distract them. You're gonna die anyway, so you fight off the police until Micah attacks you. You both fight, but you know, since you have the breathing ability of a 2-year-old, you don't do very well. And as you're reaching for your gun, Dutch stops
stops you. You try to tell Dutch one final time before you pop your clogs. The police are on their way, and Micah is trying to get Dutch to leave you, but instead he just walks away, like in the opposite direction to Micah, who then just sort of runs away. You're alone, and you're probably hurting because you just had a fight and fell off a cliff and stuff. You pull yourself up to watch the sunrise. This would be very nice if you weren't dead. A few years later, John is with Abigail and his kid, looking like a Peaky Blinder. He's trying to go straight and live an honest life, but after some unavoidable gunfights, Abigail fucks off for a bit because she thinks he hasn't changed like they started it. What the fuck? In an attempt to show her he has, he gets into debt and buys a shitty shack. During this time, he meets some of the old gang that survived. Sadie, Charles, this guy Uncle, who I haven't mentioned because he contributes less to the story than I do to society. Sadie and him go bounty hunting to pay for the shitload of debt he's in, while Charles helps him build a proper house to live in. Uncle is there too, but once again being more useless than a car without wheels. Abigail then comes back because she heard that he's got a nice house and she wants a piece of that financial pie, and everything's great. John proposes to her, and then Sadie comes with information on Micah, and you know he's got to deal with that cunt. Him, Sadie, and Charles ride to where he's supposed to be. Unfortunately, Charles and Sadie's plot armor runs out. They're not actually dead, don't worry. So John, as a one-man army, goes after Micah, gunning people down and eating stringy meat because his eye thing was low. When he finds Micah, they fight a bit, but then Sadie shows up to help you out. They finally have Micah at gunpoint. I'm sure there's nothing that can stop them from killing him now.
Hello, son.
God damn it. Dutch is back, and John has to talk his way out of getting a face full of bullets. Please don't kill us. Dutch just sort of wanders off, probably to charismatically kill another group of outlaws, and inside the house, John finds so much money that he will never need to commit a single crime ever again. At least until Red Dead Redemption 1. What started as a game where you're a naughty boy in a world filled with law resulted in you dying as a slightly morally better naughty boy in a world filled with law, as you complete Red Dead Redemption 2.